Good day, and we are going to speak about the case involving the 1997 case involving University and Community College System of Nevada versus Farmer. In this case here, Yvette Farmer felt that she was being what we would say is victimized because a black professor was basically selected before her. And she felt that she should have probably gotten the first preference, maybe because she felt that she was white. And after being hired afterwards, she was given less pay. Now, in terms of the Equal Pay Act, I could understand that she bring a case against the college for such. But on the aspect of she bringing the college to court because the professor who was employed before her was black, it made no sense at all. And I personally stand with the courts because at the end of the day, it's about diversity. It doesn't matter whether you're black, white, Indian, you're fat, you're thin, you're small. It's all about diversity. And any organization, college or school, the first thing that they want to do is get the best for the organization. And if the professor, whether he was of whatever race or nationality, was more qualified to be hired by the school, then obviously they would have selected him. If she was qualified, way more qualified than him, then she would have been selected as well. And he couldn't have brought the school to court because they chose somebody of a different nationality over him. So in this event, I stand by the court, and the court did what was morally right in not even going further with the matter, and she already got compensated for under the Equal Pay Rights and under the Equal Pay Act. So what else does she want again? And these kind of things makes no kind of sense whatsoever. Now, when we're speaking about, and similarly, you have the incident with the Watchmark Comnitel Corporation, which has now become IBM. Every organization in itself will always look for the best product at a low cost. And if you're going to speak about the moral or ethical aspect of it, morally, it might not seem right. But in terms of, if you're referring to ethically, in terms of looking out for the company's benefit, they have to do what they have to do in order to get what they want. Now, in their outsourcing and going to India to get persons to do the work for them, which company doesn't do that? Tell me. Every company in the US does that. All they do, they find out where they could get the cheapest labor, which is a way of maximizing profits, and they hire those persons. Yes, you have persons in the country where you might say they're in need of a job, but if you could outsource and get persons from the outside who could give you a cheaper job, you could pay at a cheaper rate, and you get the best of the products or the best work done. Guess what? The company has now used its tactical ethics, and they're basically trying to maximize the profits, and that's what everybody does. So I wouldn't say that the actions that they took were not ethical. Morally, it might seem, it's not right because there are persons in the country who has a job or who are already employed, but are they skilled or are they qualified as those other persons which the company have gone outside to look for and get such a product and still make more money? And so with IBM taking over and doing the same thing, going to China, This is what everybody does. What are we going to do? So the if you look from the moral and ethical aspect of it, it is all about company maximizing profits, and that is what everybody wants to do. Everybody wants to ensure that at the end of the day, they have the best product. And what are we going to do about it? So there was nothing wrong in them going outside to get it. It's a way of diversity. It is a way now for persons on the inside to now decide, you know what, let me see if I could measure to that level of things. We're also going to speak about the diversity of legislation in Canada than it is in the United States. Canada, from way beyond before the United States, will always bring in persons from different nationalities or diverse communities and employ them to do their work. It has been a system that Canada have had for years. And basically, it has worked for them. Canada only recently, probably in the last decade, started putting visa restrictions on certain persons. But they have managed the border so well, and the system has been working pretty good. And if the US had that system, then it'll be okay. The reason why Canada's system works, you don't see the advertisements about Canada saying Canada is the life of the world or the life of the party. Canada doesn't advertise anything in terms of job or be the best that you can. The different little slogans that you get. Canada would employ you based on your experience and what you could bring to the country in terms of uplifting the country, in terms of they getting the best of the outside world employees and so forth. This system have been working for quite a number of years. The US have basically put embargoes or visa restrictions on many countries compared to Canada. Canada have restrictions on countries as well. But what has happened is that they still ensure that they choose the best of the best from every country, no matter what country you come from. So it's always easier if you could get a diversity amongst persons and get stuff done where your country could benefit from it. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't say that your country, you will have everybody who is qualified for that particular job. It's just like, for instance, if you're going to speak about cultural products. Now, guess what? When you look at cultural products on the market, for instance, and we ask the questions like, what stereotyping messages that they bring abroad? Most cultural products are made white. Sorry to say. Most cultural products are made white. And obviously, you had to get a diversity in terms of black or so, unless the only time you get them in different colors is probably if you have like robots or something. But if you have something like dolls and that kind of stuff, they are white. You look at the storybooks. Most of the characters in the storybooks are white. You hardly have black characters in those. If you look at video games, on the other hand, that's where the issue comes in. Most video games, especially the warlike video games, that's when the black characters come in, because it always seems that they always have to be fighting or shooting or something. So in the storybooks, in the basic storybooks, it's white characters. They're dealing with this, the comics and everything. But in the video game aspect of everything, the characters are black. So the characters, although there's a mixture in the video games, don't get me wrong. There's a mixture in the video games, but the majority of them are black. And they're always there in video games. They are always in video games where they are shooting at somebody or they're fighting with somebody. So that's what it shows most of the time, and that's the only time you get a diversity in basically cultural products. Good day.